Another day, another hubbub that we have to look into and deal with. And today, we will be looking at the world of emulation, emulators. Currently, there is a big issue happening with a emulator created by Yuzu. And Yuzu emulators, guess what they emulate? Switch games. Now, before I get into my opinion, let's just lay out all of the things that have currently happened. So, to start off, Yuzu is a emulator that emulates Switch games, and it runs them on Linux, Windows, and you can do certain things that you couldn't do on the Switch, which is increase the FPS, change the resolution. You get a lot of more options to fix what is already considered a low poly or low graphics system and make it look better in the eyes of many people. Now, what has happened specifically with Yuzu? Simple enough, they got sued by Nintendo, and it has caused Yuzu to shut down. And they have a settlement where Yuzu has to pay Nintendo $2.4 million. Damn. And after everything had happened, Yuzu took down their website and they put up the statement. Hello, Yuzuers and Citra fans. We write today to inform you that Yuzu and Yuzu's support of Citra are being discontinued effective immediately. Yuzu and its teams have always been against piracy. We started the projects in good faith out of passion for Nintendo and its consoles and games, and we're not intending to cause harm. But we see now that because our projects can circumvent Nintendo's technological protection measures and allows users to play games outside of authorized hardware, they have led to extensive piracy. In particular, we have been deeply disappointed when users have used our software to leak game content prior to its release and ruin the experience for legitimate purchasers and fans. We have come to the decision that we cannot continue to allow this to occur. Piracy was never our intention, and we believe that piracy of video games and on video game consoles should end. Effective today, we will be pulling our code repositories offline, discontinuing our Patreon accounts and Discord servers, and soon shutting down our websites. We hope our actions will be a small step toward ending piracy of all creators' works. Thank you for your years of support and for understanding our decision. Simple enough. They are pulling out because of a lot of bad faith things happening with the code that they have made themselves and people pirating games on it. And I don't think I mentioned this, I hope I did, but Citra, which was made by Yuzu, was an emulator for the 3DS. And the 3DS is still up and running, but it has been announced that Nintendo is to end online support for 3DS and the Wii U next year. They said that the date that Nintendo will stop caring or close the online options for the Wii U and the 3DS is April 2024. So we're talking in 2 months as of the date of this video. There, I just dated the whole thing. Now I'm gonna go in with my opinions on the matter. I, for one, am just surprised they got this far with it. They got Switch games running on a PC. In my eyes, when it comes to game preservation, it shouldn't be current gen. If you make it current gen, it's going to cause issues because it's, as in the name, it's current. Why would you need preservation of something that is something in the present? You don't need it. I believe the 3DS should have game preservation. It should have an emulator. If we're losing access to the 3DS and its games online, then we need it to be preserved as much as possible. That even includes the Wii U. If those two are losing all of their accessibilities, they should be brought onto the PC and emulated for everyone to enjoy for the coming years. The Switch, however, I do not believe it should be on the PC. Why? Because the console is there. You can use the console right now. You can enjoy all the benefits of having a Switch, but you're circumventing that and you're just going to emulate the device onto your computer just so you can have a couple of extra frames. That's very stupid. And yes, we'll look at the argument of I bought it, so I own it, so I can do whatever I want. Yes, you own the physical copy of the game. You don't own the assets that are in the game. People will run around with the idea of, but I own it, so I can do anything to it, so I can modify the files if I wanted to. And that's true. People like to mod a lot of things, but some people don't like modding because if we're going to look at Nintendo's point of view of it, because you're modding their game, technically you would have to mod the Switch, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you need to practically jailbreak it to run the modified files? So that's an issue in of itself. You can't say anything about that. Yes, you bought the game and then you decided to take out the files and throw it on your computer and you want to emulate it through that or use the Steam Deck to play it. Good on you. You do you. But if we're going to look at it in the long run, you're thinking about yourself. But what about the people that are just straight up bad faith? For example, Soulja Boy, the one that decided to try to buy and sell the frickin' Soulja GameCon or whatever it was called that basically emulated Nintendo games. Granted, yes, that is pretty old Nintendo games. It didn't have any of the GameCubes or anything like that. As far as I know, it only dealt with like NES or Super NES. But what's stopping people from doing that? What's stopping people from just getting one of those weird ass arcade sticks or doing whatever little small device that and make the controllers and just making one of those 101 devices but for GameCube games, for Wii games? I don't believe they would do it to a Wii game, but those types of devices, you are opening up the door to getting people to take those things and try to sell it themselves, be it at a cheaper price. Let's say if a game is worth $60, they decide they can just take it and repurpose it and just sell it for $30. And that is just a lawsuit by itself. You can't say yes or no about that. That is literal stealing. You are stealing as much as people love to make that joke, hey, don't steal from a multi-billion-dollar company. But at the same time, you don't see the issue in the matter. You are pulling out those game files, you're throwing it out into the internet, and you're giving it to people that don't even probably own a Switch. They just care about piracy and emulating, because they said it straight up. They considered the work of other people that decided to take their code and created the piracy versions of it. And hey, they said it, not me. I'm not doing anything about it. And to a certain degree, that is true. So I asked this simple question to a person on Twitter, and I'll check right now to see if I have even gotten a reply yet. Let me go check. No, I haven't. So I was part of this Twitter thread, and the starting point was Nintendo has to be delusional if they think that shutting down one emulator will stop people from emulating their games. Merely cut off one head from the Hydra. That's true. And then a person commented, no, Yuzu took the L for sake of not going to court, setting a precedent for emulation. That's how I see it. And then a person, the original content person, said they are not winning against a multi-billion-dollar corporation, especially when they are in the wrong. And then a person wrote misinformation. They tried to stop it, but people developed around them and made their own fix to get around Yuzu. That's where everything started. So after this is, are you saying it's misinformation because the devs failed to charge people for it? Because if they tried, that means they did it. The results don't really matter. I think, if I'm not wrong, the protected tweet person was saying was that they tried to charge people for a Switch emulator update that would make Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom playable, and that's what they are talking about. That's why the person said misinformation. And then after, they wrote misinformation because they actively tried to stop the game from being playable, and that's it until it's actually released. All right, I came in and said, you lose the fight the moment money becomes a part of it. I refuse to believe you do not see the issue with emulating a system that is current gen and running those current gen games on something other than the system it was made for. And then the person replied, I have and never will, because it's completely legal to do and has been for a while. So I just asked a simple question. I just wanted to know. Explain to me, without saying game preservation, that it is legal to do, because I do not see it in any way it being so. So I'll ask that question to you guys. Is there a way for it to be legal without using the words game preservation? Can you tell me in what way it becomes legal to do what Yuzu or Citra did? Citra, I'll give them a pass because the 3DS is and the Wii U is losing like support. So I look at it in a way that the moment they lose support, they should immediately become freeware. Because if they're not gaining any support, if there is an issue later on, who's gonna fix it? Probably a person that really loves messing around and modifying files, and then they create this specific fix. People should look into the way CD Projekt Red handles these things, and my friend told me about this and I decided to look into it some more, and I'll show you right here. This is one of the CD Projekt Red posts that they had. It's pretty old, from 2015, and let's just read it really fast. On May the 15th, CDPR will release a 1.01 patch that will contain numerous fixes and an exe file. This file will be available from the Galaxy client, need not sign up login. Just have the client up and running with the preload files imported. Alternatively, you can download the patch from play.thewitcher3.com and just run it. This will be available to everybody, not just people who bought the game. Having said that, I would really like to encourage you buying the game. Firstly, it goes toward my salary. I work at the company, which you may probably not care about. Secondly, if you own the game, you will receive 16 free DLCs, which contain tons of cool stuff, including new quest lines, item sets, game modes, etc. The game costs $32 on GOG.com, and for that $32, you will get so much gaming content, it will boggle your mind. Seriously, I am involved in the development process, and me as well as hundreds of people who have literally worked their asses off for the last couple of months. Some serious overtime came into making Witcher 3, and I am telling you, this isn't an 8-hour corridor stunt for $60. This is a game as huge as Skyrim itself, perhaps even bigger. I really do hope you enjoy the game, no matter if you buy it or not. I will, however, really personally appreciate if you purchase it. And why did they do this? Well, it's simple. We can even look at it over here. CD Projekt Red found that their initial release, which included DRM technology, was pirated over 4.5 million times. Their DRM-free re-release was pirated far less. That freaking simple. CD Projekt Red found something that they could do, and they did it. Everybody should look at what CD Projekt Red and try to do something similar. But at the same time, if you emulate something old and keep it as like game preservation, if you want to use that word, keep using it, go ahead. But you cannot come to me and tell me I am preserving Switch games. You can't. I'm just straight up telling you that. All in all, if you enjoyed this video, hey, why not drop a like? If you didn't, I'm not going to tell you not to dislike it. Go right ahead. And I hope to see you here in the next video. See you.